was $337.9 million. I'm reading it from Central Bank report, over it. Then I've seen when you go to the N2017 report, you will see 110 million. Let the high school students all across the country who want to vote, let them ask Joseph Parker, what did Union Party do with 227 million, and why should they replace George Weah, who has replaced that money by 212 million or more? First fundamental question. That's what the election is about. President Weah faced a crisis of corona. Corona is nothing. You can't compare Ebola to corona. Baby, corona destroyed countries. Africa is in a serious debt crisis today because of corona. Interest rates have gone. There was a time where after the financial crisis, interest rate was like zero. Interest rate in some countries were negative, meaning they're paying you to keep your money in the bank. Negative rates all over everybody. There was a country where just start borrowing on that zero interest rate. Recently, what happened after the Ukraine war, Korea, see the Federal Reserve carrying interest rate high. All the countries in crisis right now. Corona, like global crisis. West African countries are in crisis. Just see all the situation in Ghana. Inflation jumped all in America. Yeah? America, but President Biden came on a crisis in America. Because of inflation, Biden had to fight. And this is a lot of economists be celebrating inflation coming down small. It actually increased during Corona. Domestic revenue increased during the Corona. Inflation came down. He said, how are you doing it? He said, because I'm responsible. I said, no borrowing from the central bank. The last government used to just take central bank money and pay salary. All the reserves came down. The one I'm telling you about said 337 to 110. Like either you take the central bank money, you pay government salary, you not put the money back. You take the central bank money, you take government salary. You take the central bank money, you go, you case a money changer to exchange rate. The exchange rate under the United Party came from 55 US dollar to 55 Liberian dollar to $1 US in 2006. By the time they were leaving office, you know the exchange rate was 125. So their whole policy was to manage the exchange rate to stay stable. It did not stay stable for 12 years. It was 55 to 1, and it ended up being 125 to 1 over that 12-year period. All that time, they took the country reserve, they 227 million to waste it beyond aid, to waste it beyond pay government salary, not pay back. Now, when you pay government salary, not wasting the money, but you got to put it back. The dog hole, they didn't cover hole. The dog hole for the man look at the hole, he put money back in the hole, he covered their hole. Then now the man, they say they won't move from power. Well, like Brent will get answer for them on Tuesday. So, all the propagandists can't prove me wrong with these numbers I'm talking about. People who manage the country, Joseph Walker, who created this wreck, and we inherited. Well, in 2007, they made a decision to take 3,000 and 5,000 people off the government payroll. They retired people. They took people off, 5,000. If those people were still on the payroll, between their time and our time, the government would have paid them almost $100 million. So those people, those Liberians who were taken from the payroll, were deprived of government earnings to the tune of 100 million United States dollars today. That's the government that's supposed to replace. When George Weah came to power, he had that same decision to make. Whether to put 5,000 Liberians down. What decision did George Weah make? George Weah put Liberians who were not on the payroll. He put them there. That's the decision George Weah made. He created fiscal space, something called fiscal space creation. Finding fiscal space. You look at the budget and found fiscal space. When the partners rejected 2,003 of our people, thanks to them, they paid these people for 12 years. 12 million a year times 12 and how much? 144 million Joseph Walker did not have to spend from the government budget. Why he didn't use that to build Lofa Road? And the question the Lofa people should ask him, Uncle, why when you are not paying the health workers, when the donors were paying the health workers, why did they not take this money to do road in Lofa or to do the road in the southeast? So we now see why the woman said opportunities were squandered. I am here defining for you what it means how we squander the opportunities. When George Weah came, the president took the 2000, but it was not an easy decision. The first decision, the president said that we got a cut. The president said, and let's do a proper cut to make special. So that cut generated something around 7 million to be able to accommodate some of those people. Then we went and did other radical things. Scratch card. I mean, look, Minister of Finance. I do not see scratch card. Okay, I'm on some boards. The only time I see a scratch card when some of the boards are on the bring a scratch card and they bring cash slip to me. As minister, I don't get a scratch card. Scratch card to the tune of $5,000 used to expire in people's pockets in this country. And not scratch card, but what do you call it thing? Gas slip. Gas coupon about 5,000 used to expire. Ministers and other people used to carry to the gas station and give it. So no, it expired. So okay, yeah. How do people use the country money? The people who want can take over. People who can be on radio talking, say they want to policy, how to use the country money. You call it you call your own. You get in the government by calling your own salary. Me, I want to make 8,000 euro. Me, I want to make 4,000 euro. I had the government there. No system. Poor country. One man make 25,000 euros, a teacher make 45 euros immigration. And that would Joseph Walker government look at that kind of disparity for 12 years. That's the kind of thing our people were through. George Weah had to fix that mess. You were confronted with challenge, put people on the payroll. Then the reform they started, the crazy reform they started under Joseph Walker and the former Finance Minister, Americana, who were there. You know what they did? They took Ministry of Finance salary way up. Where we're sitting here, civil service. They took the salary way up. Civil Service Association, the Civil Service Agency, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Gender, and the Foreign Ministry. All of them, the people workers had a higher salary. The rest of the government, they stopped. Because why? They figured out they did not have money to carry the whole government up, so they would start with only 4. It's like you have 100 workers. You take 10 of the workers, you take their pay from $100, you carry it to $700. Then you reach to the point you say, but I will not be able to have money to do the other 90. Okay, you have the other 90 workers. You have to wait in 3 years' time with you. And the situation what's in this country here, and the situation George Weah inherited. So what George Weah then did is say it's unfair for 4 government entities, for a secretary in the ministry of, I'm my own ministry. You might be happy with me, that's fine. I'm my own ministry. There were people there who were secretary making 2,000, who were making higher than the secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture. It is unfair to the country for one staff to make that kind of money with the same skill and the other staff makes peanuts. We are all moral beings. Yeah, we can play politics, but the George Weah was not elected to play politics with the lives of Liberians. He was elected to make tough choices. Liberians are happy, Liberians are not happy. The majority of Liberians, we appreciate it. So this is what we did. Some of the health workers who were brought on the government payroll were not paying taxes. The NGO thing I talked about, the 2003, they were not paying taxes. The challenge is that when we brought them on the government payroll, then they had to pay taxes. Some of them are interpreting that tax as a cut. It is not a cut. Every Liberian must pay tax. And so the 2,300 people started paying taxes. Some of them interpreted it as government cutting them because NGOs are not taking that tax from them. Some of them are interpreting Social Security. Social Security, the law says every citizen must pay 4%. When you retire at age 60, 65, the government will pay you that money back. That is not a tax cut. That is not a tax cut. That is your future savings. When you're no longer able to work for the government or a private entity, the Social Security Agency, the Social Security will then pay you that money. In America, in France, all over it is there. Some of the workers are taking the 4% to interpret and tell people that the opposition people are telling them, the propaganda say the government cutting you into their own money, the government say when you retire. We have the opportunity to clarify that. When you talk, we talked some of these things before, but the noise cleared. Okay. So that's what Treasury are inheriting. That's what we are fixing. What this report has done, and we'll come and talk about the report now, is to say, listen, after all these painful, difficult choices, you're facing this, you're fixing that. You're putting supplementary teachers on the payroll and voluntary teachers. 3,000 voluntary teachers for 4,800 of them on the payroll. The president in two weeks ago announced that there will be no voluntary teacher or any health worker in the country. So that means there are about 1,700 more volunteers that are still there teaching. They are now going to be qualified as full-time teachers. We're preparing the budget now. In January, they are gone. In the health sector as well, all volunteers will be absorbed. But that decision was already made in 2020. That speech that Tweah gave, he already took that decision 2020. He brought 2,800 people on already. I checked the balance people because we're looking for more money to attend. Then he said, listen, since you don't have to spend 53 million next year for elections, and since I have generated 123 million into revenue, heard me? Tweah raised domestic revenue 120 million with or without COVID, with or without Ukraine war, just macro crisis, revenue now up by 3% of GDP, or 120 million. He said, we'll use some of that 55 and increase government salary. We'll use it to deal with some of the private sector issues. People want loans. We put it there, and then we look at some of it. We put in education. We're looking for money to improve education. That's how we spend that 55. Now we're not spending on election next year, and we don't have to spend on election for 6 years. By the time he reaches that 6 years, you already see. Yeah. See, there's people have moved Messi already down on the feet. But where do I see that one? Where do I see the seven Ronaldo down the set Messi down? Where? That way, the poor run behind the goal. I better still have a break. So like I break on the yeah. So people around me was the day has gone well. You know how paying all roads? How you paying for free tuition? How you paying for free wax? $40 million free tuition, free wax on the bill for the government. $40 million. 4 years, Joseph Braga like $80 million. Where did they with that $80 million? Where did they with the 144 for the healthcare worker? So those are the monies that they should be asking for. Where did they with the 27 million for the central bank? I mean, the 227 million for the central bank. You're talking about money missing, and the money missing, the headline there. Tomorrow, the headline should say, what happened to the 227 million? The headline should go to the central bank report and ask the former government how to account for it. All the newspaper, all of you here, you should write it. How many newspapers in here? You're writing headline. You're asking the tough question. You're writing editorial because this is an objective fact. That CBR report, you go there and do the subtraction. You ask all the government, the people who are running the country, what did they do with the 227 million? Yeah, to ask them. So today, we're now able to stand objectively. Last year, the report came up, but we didn't make it big much, right? Like we're doing it now. Because we knew this day was coming. In fact, I remember Ben Sambi asking me a question. Will you pass the next year? And I told Ben Sambi, we not only pass, we passed 12 last year. I said, we'll increase our pass. He said, you sure? And I pass. This is to tell you that I don't guess where yet. The president been putting us under pressure about these things, about improving governance ever since. The president declared this year a year of governance. Last year, all the government systems that were broken. People talk about audit. Let me tell you. You ask all the people there. Let me go read a consolidated audit. The biggest challenge we have faced with audit in this country is that government people take government money and they don't want to pay. They don't want to to do financial reporting. So when the auditor goes to audit, he said, I can't see the financial report, so I can't audit. So the revenue account under the United Party was disclaimed by John Mullu. The same John Mullu who is now supporting that side, told that side he disclaimed them because he said he didn't have sufficient financial information to even audit them. The same John Mullu who on that side. So these people are not on these sides for objective truth. They are taking these positions because of what they want for politics. So the other reports are there. The consolidated have been disclaimed severally. It was the biggest challenge in GSC. When we took over, we started to improve. So we can't do this. Let the people audit. Listen, let them audit and find what they have to find, but let the report say something. So now we move from disclaimer where it says no information. We work now, and we are being able to say you have a lot of information. Then we go to adverse opinion. So under our government, we've had adverse opinion, yeah. And then we move from adverse opinion in the special budget year, we move to unqualified opinion. There will be issues there, no problem. Some of the reason why you can even hear some of the issues is because of the very transparency of the government to make all this information available to the public. Whether that road fund, whether that there's nothing wrong going on there. These are transparencies. Every year, the Minister of Fiscal year, where he is, Amora, we send every week all fiscal data to the IMF. When we're doing that, the IMF, the guy who was here, you call him Jeff, the former IMF mission country director. The man said, you sure you can do this? For the IMF to see your fiscal spending every week, it's going to be intrusive. Say, well, we got to hide. Do it, we got nothing to hide. That the old government has something to hide, that they took 200 million of debt, they put it under the table. We took that debt money and put it on the table. And the former finance minister saw the debt went up high. He said, oh, the government borrowed the money because the debt was something like 300 million. You had 200. I correct it, bring it to 500. The finance minister said, oh, the government has borrowed 200 million. The most part in the country. When I challenge him, he said to you that debt, you the one borrowed that money, you hiding it. I only expose it. And people who go on outside, they say, where they're going, they're coming. They've messed this country up. Mess it up. And President Tweah and his team are facing it. A significant challenge they will take and tackle. We'll talk about some of that through the scorecard to see, so you get a fair sense of the level of challenge that we have. MCC scorecard, the minister told you what it means. Well, the first meaning we want to draw from it, and everybody drawing from it right now, because let me tell you, there used to be something called the World Bank Doing Business Report. That report is no longer coming out because there was some corruption with that report. So there was too much competition because investors are looking at the report too much. So people started doing all kinds of things with that report. Until countries say, we don't have access to credit, employment, all of that. Historically, the country had never passed 14. Joshua is the first president to reach to see 14.
14.
Hey, my brother, 14, see 14.
What is the number?
The men are 14. So he's the first president to see 14 because he's 14. Then he go and let people vote for him on November 14. 14 works. Yeah. Men pass 14, then he number 2 on the ballot. It's like divine grace, divine blessing. Yeah. Somebody named Wayne. I call me. I saw God. Why you say 15? Why you say 12, 13? I put it on 14. So people can say, "And the man, no, I'm supposed to say like God." You get fight great, man. You get fight. So fiscal policy, we pass. That pass. Fiscal policy is about the deficit. Whether the government is borrowing more money than not. So when you take the budget, they will calculate the deficit. The goal under the IMF program, every country is to keep deficit within 2 to 3%. If the deficit goes higher and higher, yeah, you're challenged. So you're judged according to your peer. This is a very difficult indicator. We passed it, I think, 4 times in the last since 2007. Yeah, a fact we're reporting here now. No politics here. Fact. The last pass was 2014. Since 2014, we've never passed. We passed now. Before 2014, we passed 2007, 2008, and 2009 fiscal policy. So, that inflation, we passed. You know the inflation story. We need to talk about that one, right? Yeah. We know inflation. Yeah, I mean, those are all. I mean, yeah, 2014, we faced from 2014 all the way up. You know, with Japan. It doesn't matter. You fact check those things. It's always good. The other story here is that what they do is that they average 3 of the schools. So 1 year is not important in this fiscal policy. In that 1 year, they average the 2 previous years and this year. So when you passing, you mean that passing get weight because that years of work, even though the passing might at 70, right? But you're trying to see whether you can get to that 70. And you in 30, I don't care how you do, you will never reach 70 because when the average 30 plus 30 plus 40, you can't get to 70. So you gotta be around 69, and then you hustle, you go to 69.5, then 1 year you jump to 73. Then you jump over, and how you get to 70? Yeah. When you average the 3. So you gotta be near the passing mark. So it shows the president's commitment to fiscal discipline, macroeconomic prudence, all of that. That was showing right now here. And the big bag, all of you pay your taxes, they call your taxes on the business program, pay the taxes, that money that kind of all used to pay salary. But sometimes in a year it can be slow, sometimes it can be fast. So when you low, the whole government used to go in the central bank and cover it. We, the president, said we can't do it. So the only other way we gotta find out we get tax central bank money. That's the kind of thing that we can do. So inflation is there, trade policy is about the average tariff rate, barriers to trade. All the checkpoints. Let me use this opportunity. Listen, we don't need too many checkpoints on the road. We made some progress in that area. Look, you want to bring a good from the local tour border and move it straight to red line. Maybe 2 checkpoints on the way. We have had meetings and said, listen, brother, we are a free country. If you have multiple checkpoints on the road, so there used to be a lot of checkpoints, you know that. You have been